Imagine, it's 2015, you're a big fan of dinosaurs, always have been. You're scrolling through gaming news or watching a YouTube video, and then you see it. I was 11 when that first trailer came out, and I saw it, and it lit a fire in me. I watched it again and again, and I remember thinking, if they can pull this off, this might be the coolest game ever made. So, the anticipation for this game grew and grew. I have never seen anything like this before. I was still just playing Pokemon and Mario on my DS. This game was going to be a game changer for me. So I was so excited to hear that it would come out just a couple months later, in June 2nd of 2015, on something called Early Access. And of course, at this time, I did not have a PC. So that date came around, and here I am. Sad that it is only on PC. But I would have to wait, and I would be able to experience this unpolished gem of a game. Until that day in 2017, when the game hit its full release and I could actually play it, I just lived for YouTubers, watching Let's Plays of the early access that I couldn't play. So when that day came in 2017, and I hit play, it was magic. Suddenly, I'm lying in the sand, shirtless, blinking at the sun, with a giant crystal glowing right over the horizon. There are giant dinosaurs in the distance. I'm terrified, but I'm completely hooked. This was my first experience with ARK, Survivally Evolved. ARK was born from a dream, to merge survival crafting with dinosaurs and multiplayer chaos. Jeremy Stieglitz and Jesse Rapzak led a small team at Studio Wildcard, and by 2015 they had a prototype. It was raw, but it was playable. They started with just a small team, but had one major asset on their side: Unreal Engine 4. UE4 allowed them to rapidly prototype their world, creatures, and mechanics with remarkable speed. It's part of how they were able to go from concept to public trailer in just under a year. By June 2nd, 2015, ARK hit Steam Early Access. It launched with over 60 dinosaurs, a fully playable island, online multiplayer, and a base building system. It wasn't polished, far from it, but it was playable. And for a survival game in 2015, that was already a big deal. The survival genre was already booming. Rust, DayZ, The Forest, but none of them had creatures like this. None of them had the scale of ambition, and none of them let you build a fortress on the back of a dinosaur. From day one, Wildcard pushed updates at a ridiculous pace. Sometimes multiple patches per week. Every few days, new creatures were added, mechanics tweaked, systems introduced. It was chaotic, but it made the game feel alive, and the community loved it. In just 2 weeks, ARK sold over 1 million copies, but behind that rapid growth was a skeleton crew trying to build a behemoth. The dev team was pulling crazy hours. There wasn't always time to QA or test features before deployment. Players essentially became beta testers. Some willingly, others not so much. And as the bugs piled up, criticism started mounting. Crashes, memory leaks, poor optimization, especially when it released on consoles. And then, in September of 2016, Wildcard did something that nearly shattered the goodwill they had left. In September of 2016, just over a year after ARK launched into early access, Studio Wildcard dropped a surprise. A full DLC expansion, Scorched Earth, new biomes, new creatures, new gear, and wyverns. That's my favorite part. It looked amazing. It was amazing. And when I bought it, I was completely hooked. The map was brutal, water was scarce, creatures were dangerous, you had to rethink how you survived all over again. But not everyone felt that way. See, ARK was still in early access, still unfinished, still broken in places. The game crashed often, multiplayer was inconsistent, console ports ran poorly, and now Wildcard was selling a $20 DLC on top of it? Players were furious. The phrase, "finish the game first," became a rallying cry on the Steam forums. People accused Wildcard of abandoning the core game for a cash grab. It wasn't just backlash, it was betrayal. And honestly, I understood it. ARK was already full of bugs. Why were we paying more money when things still didn't work? Wildcard later explained they needed to test how the game handled cross-map mechanics and tech, and that releasing DLC during early access was part of that plan. In hindsight, Scorched Earth did introduce systems that became essential to ARK's future expansions, but at the time, communication was poor, the backlash stuck, and it wouldn't be the last time Wildcard's ambition clashed with their execution. And yet, I loved it. The sandstorms, the electricity traps, that feeling of hunting a wyvern egg and making it back alive, I couldn't stay mad at the game, no matter how broken it was. That was the paradox of ARK. You could rage quit one day, and then spend 12 hours taming a moth the next. So let's take a step back, get away from all this development stuff for a second. What is ARK Survival Evolved? At its core, ARK is an open world multiplayer survival game. You wake up stranded on a strange island, half naked, with a glowing implant in your arm, and absolutely no idea what is going on. You start by doing what most survival games ask of you. Gather resources, craft tools, build shelter, don't die. That part should be familiar. But what sets ARK apart? What truly defines it? It is the creatures, obviously. There are dinosaurs and some non-paleo species, and some just straight up monsters, dozens of them. Some are passive, some are aggressive, and all of them can be tamed. Taming isn't easy, it's a process that takes time, patience, and often a lot of dying. But once you've got a dino, it's yours. You can ride it, use it in battle, or just lose it to a pack of raptors 5 minutes later. The scale ramps up quickly. One moment you're trying to tame a trike, the next you're leading a giga into war, or flying a lightning wyvern across a volcano. Base building is another core pillar. ARK has one of the most robust and most unforgiving building systems in the genre. You can make anything from a small shack to a whole castle, complete with electricity, industrial forges, and even sci-fi tech like cloning chambers and teleporters. And if you're playing on a PvP server, all of that is at risk. Your base, your tames, everything gone overnight in most cases. ARK is one of the few games where you can wake up to find weeks of progress wiped out by a rival tribe. And somehow, that risk makes the reward even sweeter. It's part sci-fi, part sandbox, part survival horror, part prehistoric zoo management, and somehow all of that works. ARK is overwhelming, janky, beautiful, frustrating, and epic. It's a game that almost collapses under its own ambition, but when it clicks, there's nothing else like it. ARK is a survival game, yes, but it's also something more, something deeper, something messier, a social experiment. At the heart of all of it is tribes. Tribes are groups of players that share resources, tame together, build together, and in many cases go to war together. If you played solo, you were playing on hard mode. Sure, you could survive for a while, maybe even tame a few dinos and build a decent base, but eventually the bigger fish came knocking. Mega tribes, 50, 60, even 100 players, these groups dominated official servers, often controlling entire maps. They enforced rules, created trade alliances, and wiped out anyone who didn't fall in line. Raiding was its own brutal art form. Months of progress could vanish in a single night. And here's the crazy part. It wasn't just brute force. It was diplomacy, politics, espionage. People infiltrated tribes and waited weeks just to inside and demolish everything from the inside. There were betrayals, server drama, endless debates about rules. Did someone break a peace treaty? Did that wyvern get sniped during a neutral meeting? In ARK, even trading could go sideways. But it wasn't all war. Some of my best memories were in the quiet moments. Raising dinos overnight, joking with tribe mates over Discord, doing silly side quests while a Giga baby grew up. There were camaraderie in the chaos. You'd laugh, fight, grind, and rage together. You weren't just surviving, you were living a whole prehistoric life. And then there were unofficial servers, roleplay communities, PvE sanctuaries, boosted chaos zones. Every corner of the ARK player base carved out its own ecosystem. Mods made everything even wilder. One server might have medieval knights riding T-Rexes, and another had Pokemon. ARK's community is like the game itself, messy, diverse, endlessly creative, and sometimes completely unhinged. It's one of the few games where the players are the content. Some of the most dedicated players spent thousands of hours in this world, not because ARK was polished, but because it was alive. You were never just fighting dinosaurs, you were also surviving each other. Now that you know what ARK is, we can go back into the development, because next up is my favorite DLC. In December of 2017, post the official launch of the game, Wildcard dropped Aberration, and this is where ARK got weird in the best way. Set in a broken ARK buried deep underground, Aberration introduced rock climbing, radiation zones, and some of the game's most terrifying creatures, including the Reaper. Basically a xenomorph. Aberration felt like ARK was saying, we're not just a dinosaur game anymore, we're a sci-fi survival epic. And it worked. The story started to unfold, fragments of lore, hints of Earth, fragments of what came before. And this would especially go into the next DLC. So in 2018, Wildcard took us to Earth with Extinction. The game went full apocalyptic. The planet was ruined, nature had collapsed, gigantic titans roamed the wasteland. And humans, or what was left of them, clung to survival inside ruined biodomes. Extinction introduced the concept of corruption. Creatures consumed by an element called, well, element. And it gave us mechs, piloted mechs that you could fight world bosses the size of mountains. It was ambitious, it was laggy, it was buggy as hell, but it was ARK. Yeah. And just when we thought the ARK story was over with Extinction, then came Genesis, a massive 2-part expansion that took the simulation theme to the extreme. Instead of a traditional map, Genesis split the world into biomes. Ocean, volcanic hellscape, lunar surface, and even a swamp. But the biggest change was the structure. Instead of a pure open world freedom, Genesis introduced missions. Some players loved it, others hated it. The grind was real. The AI companion, HLNA, had a personality, and the story finally started connecting the dots. Genesis Part 2 blew the doors open. Players were flying in on hovercrafts, fighting alongside Tolkien clones and facing off against ARK's main antagonist. Yeah, ARK has a main antagonist, Sir Edmund Rockwell, now fully consumed by Element. And with that, the story of ARK 1 came to a close. Yeah, I bet you didn't even know ARK had a story. Over 5 years, ARK evolved from a quirky dinosaur survival game to a sprawling sci-fi saga about extinction, genetic memory, and artificial evolution. The journey was messy. Wildcard was often criticized for bugs, delays, and unclear communication, but they were also fearless, they took risks, and somehow they kept pushing the game forward when no one expected it. By 2023, ARK had run its course, or so we thought. Wildcard wasn't finished. They had one more surprise. A complete remake of the original game, rebuilt from the ground up on Unreal Engine 5. They called it ARK: Survival Ascended. At first glance, it was stunning. The lighting, the animations, the water, all reimagined. ASA brought quality of life improvements that longtime fans had begged for. Cross-platform modding, streamlined UI, dynamic weather systems, it was amazing. But the release was still rocky. Pricing changes, delays, missing features. ASA was divisive. Some saw it as a cynical cash grab, others saw it as a genuine love letter, a way to future-proof ARK for a new generation of players. One thing was clear though, ARK wasn't just surviving, it was evolving again. Through all the bugs, reboots, and biome wipes, the real soul of ARK has always been the community. People formed tribes that lasted years. They raised entire dynasties of dinos, raided each other for hours, days even. Sometimes for nothing more than a grudge. Friendships were made, alliances were broken, and stories were written in the sand. There were players who logged thousands of hours, me included, modders who rebuilt the game from scratch, and creators who helped define the game's culture. As I mentioned earlier, content creators helped me experience ARK when I couldn't. So it doesn't come as a surprise to say content creators helped turn ARK into something way bigger than a survival game. Whether it was Syntac's Dino Breeding Labs, Neebs Gaming's cinematic tribe sagas, or epic mod showcases, these creators helped document what made ARK feel alive. They made it approachable, they made it fun, they made it legendary. And then there's the animated series. Yes, really. Wildcard launched a full-blown animated adaptation in 2024, featuring Vin Diesel, Michelle Yeoh, and Gerard Butler, and a surprisingly rich narrative that dives deep into the mythos of ARK. It follows the story of Helena Walker, a scientist from Earth transported into the ARK system, trying to unravel the secrets of this strange world. For longtime fans, it was a thrill to see familiar faces. Rockwell, as I mentioned earlier, is in the show. Mei Yin, Santiago, they all came to life on screen. It wasn't perfect, but it proved something important. ARK had a story worth telling. And then there's the big elephant in the room, ARK 2. Wildcard's biggest gamble yet. Teased all the way back in 2020, ARK 2 stars Vin Diesel as Santiago. It promises a third-person, Souls-like combat system focused on the narrative and advanced crafting. But we still don't know much. It's been delayed multiple times. Hype has kind of cooled down. Trust is shaky. And the question remains, can Wildcard pull it off? Before we wrap this up, I want to give a huge shout out to Gareth Coker. He is the composer for ARK, and ARK's music, if you've never heard it before, is beautiful. It's definitely something that I had to mention in this retrospective. ARK Survival Evolved is not a perfect game. It never was. It's a chaotic, often broken, beautiful mess of systems that somehow works. It let us live out our childhood dreams, ride dinosaurs, build kingdoms, lose everything and start over again and again. It's a game where the best stories aren't in the code, they're the players. From that first beach wake up in 2015, to the Reaper Queens and Tech Saddles, to whatever comes next in ARK 2. This is a game that's not just about survival, it's about persistence. And if there's one thing ARK taught us, it's how to survive, evolve, and maybe, just maybe, ascend.